Silently. My name is Marin, and I'm 29 years old. I work at a small marketing firm downtown. My life is quiet, slow, and simple. I wake up, get ready, and go to work. I don't talk much, I smile, I listen, and I do my job. Then one morning, a new manager walked into our office. His name is Julian. He's 38, kind, and always smiling. He speaks softly, and somehow he makes everyone around him feel at ease. From the very first day, everyone liked him. I said hello and smiled just like everyone else. Then I went back to my desk and worked, not knowing that something inside me had already begun to shift. Slowly, quietly. Julian, like a good boss should, remembered the little things. He laughed kindly and treated everyone with respect. Whenever he spoke to me, I found myself listening closely. I didn't know why, but his voice stayed with me long after he walked away. One day he asked, "Are you doing okay today?" I nodded and said, "Yes, thank you." But my heart was racing. I liked it when he came near my desk. I liked the way he said my name. I didn't want to feel this way. I never planned it. But every day, something deeper grew inside me, even when I tried to stop it. At night, I would think about him, his smile, his words, his gentle eyes. I tried to push the thoughts away, but they always came back. Some nights I couldn't sleep. I told myself I had to stop. I reminded myself he was only my boss, but my heart refused to listen. Then one afternoon, I noticed a ring on his hand. A gold band. He was married. My chest felt heavy. I looked away and walked quickly to the restroom. I stared at myself in the mirror and whispered, "Marin, let it go. He isn't yours." But my eyes filled with tears. My heart had already made its choice. Every day after that became harder. I'd smile when he said, "Good morning, Marin." I'd answer and try to seem normal, but inside my heart was screaming. I loved him and no one knew. It was my secret. I'd sit in meetings and watch his face instead of the screen. I felt guilty, sad, and full of feelings I couldn't share with anyone. One day he helped me fix something on my laptop. His hand brushed against mine. My heart jumped. My face went warm. He asked if I was all right. I smiled and said yes, but inside I was slowly falling apart. I told no one. I kept it all locked away. I didn't want to hurt his family, and I didn't want this ache either, but I couldn't make it stop. Love is strange that way. It slips into your heart quietly. It never asks permission. Many nights I sat alone in my room, wondering why I felt this way. I never found an answer. One Saturday I went to the park. I needed air. I needed to clear my head. I sat on a bench and closed my eyes. The sun warmed my face. Children laughed somewhere nearby. Then I heard a voice. I opened my eyes and there he was. Julian stood just a few steps away. A woman smiled beside him. Two small children ran toward them. He lifted the little girl and kissed her forehead. I froze. My chest felt heavy again. He looked happy. He looked whole with them. I stared at the trees and tried not to cry. They were his whole world. He was a father, a husband. Not my Julian, never mine. I sat there long after they had gone. I felt small, empty, and lost. I walked home slowly, my heart shattered into pieces. That night I whispered to myself, "Please forget him." But my heart still held onto his name. Monday came. I didn't want to go to work. I felt weak, but I went anyway. I arrived at the office and sat quietly at my desk. Then Julian walked over, looked at me with concern, and asked, "Marin, are you okay? You seem sad today." I looked down and said I was just tired. He sat beside me and said, "You're a good person, Marin. You help everyone. You're quiet but strong. You're special." That word hit me hard, special. No one had ever called me that before. I smiled, but my hands were shaking. My heart carried that word with me all day. That night I stood in front of the mirror and whispered, "He thinks I'm special." Then the tears came. I cried because for a moment I felt happy. I cried because I knew I could never be his. One evening we stayed late at the office together. Everyone else had gone home. Silence filled the room. I wanted to speak, but I was afraid. Then he spoke first softly. "Marin," he said, "you matter to me." My heart jumped. I looked at him, not knowing what to say. He said, "I'm married, but I like you. You make me feel alive." My eyes filled with tears. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to feel loved, but I knew this wasn't right. He said he didn't want to hurt his family, but he couldn't stop thinking about me either. My heart broke all over again. I said, "Julian, I like you too, but you have a family. I don't want to cause any pain." He nodded slowly. "I understand," he said. We sat in silence. The room felt cold. That moment stayed with me, sweet and painful all at once. I knew this love was real, but real love sometimes means walking away, even when it hurts. After that night, everything changed. We stopped talking about feelings. We worked side by side, but with a quiet distance between us. I missed our conversations. I missed how he made me feel, but I told myself it had to be this way. I started thinking more about myself. My heart still carried him, but I knew I needed to be strong. I didn't want to be anyone's secret. I wanted to be someone's first choice. I wanted to smile without hiding the pain underneath. So I began taking small steps to find myself again, to dream again, to live without his shadow over me. I started spending more time with friends. I walked through the park again, not to see him, but to feel the sun on my skin. I listened to music that made me smile. I read books that gave me hope. I reminded myself that I am enough, that I deserve a whole love, not half of one. I still think of Julian sometimes. When I hear a voice like his, or see a smile that resembles his, my heart remembers. But I also remember how strong I've become. I learned that love isn't always about being together. Sometimes it's about letting go with grace. One night I wrote in my journal, I wrote, "Julian, but you won't be my ending." That sentence gave me peace. I closed the notebook and smiled. That night I didn't cry. I felt light. I felt brave. I knew I had survived something powerful. My love never had a voice, but it had depth. My pain never made a sound, but it shaped me. I learned to love myself in the silence, and in that silence I found a strength I never knew I had. Now when I look in the mirror, I see a woman who lived through a quiet storm. She didn't break. She grew. She wasn't lost. She found her voice. Julian still walks past my desk sometimes. He still says, "Good morning, Marin." I smile and say it back, but now my smile is calm. My heart is steady. I no longer wait for something that was never meant to be mine. I no longer wait for a love that hurts. I'm waiting for peace. I'm waiting for happiness. I'm waiting for a love that's free, open, and real. And I believe that one day it will come.